Hello and welcome back to Big Mouth, my channel, which means I can do and say whatever I want. And welcome to Sunday's edition of the dceu Daily. Remember, you can tag me over on Twitter at MoviesTVMad, suggesting articles I can read, topics I can read. Basically, I'll talk about anything on this channel and do videos about anything, obviously within reason. So welcome to Sunday's edition of the dceu Daily. And I think we all really underestimated Jared Leto's Joker's bigger role in the DCEU. And now, to me, it's all becoming very clear. This guy was going to play a larger role in the whole of the Snyderverse. Now, there's been a little bit of a theory I've been reading over on Twitter this week by quite a few fans. And the theory is, one of them is that obviously, we know that Joker literally beat Jason Todd's Robin to death. But there's a theory saying that the Joker actually burnt his body afterwards. But not only that he burnt his body in Wayne Manor, which is the reason, the theory says, this is the reason why Bruce Wayne's Wayne Manor is actually burnt to cinders when we see it in Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. I like this theory. I agree with this theory, and I'm going with this theory. I think it's something that definitely happened, and I think it just goes to show, as I said on the top of the show, how important Jared's Joker was going to be. And it was going to be so much more than just being in David Ayer's Suicide Squad. And as we already know, Jared's been called back for additional photography for Zack Snyder's Justice League. So I think it's pretty awesome that he's going to be in Justice League. First of all, that's really exciting. No matter how much or how long he's in kind of season 1 for, whether he'll be reprising his role for season 2, season 3 or season 4. I hope we actually, if this is true, I'd like to see a flashback to Jared Leto's Joker beating Robin to death, burning him alive in Wayne Manor, and seeing the whole mansion going up. That'll be very interesting because Wayne Manor is so important to the whole Batman legacy. And for Joker to be the one not only to beat and burn Jason Todd's Robin, but for it to be at Wayne Manor, to see this family home of Bruce Wayne's being burnt down, and to think that, his mother and father built this up from nothing. So it would be soul destroying for Batman. And I think it is important for Batfleck's arc to see all this go down. So I think that would be really exciting. And I'm definitely down for that happening. Also, would love to know what you lot think about that. But I agree. I think that's how the Wayne Manor burns down. I think that's really exciting. And let's hope we can see it. Now, I found a very interesting article from the AV Club on Superman and Lois. It's about a writer being sacked from the writer's room. Now, I find this very interesting, so let's give this a read. This article is from William Hughes yesterday. Superman and Lois writer Nadria Tucker says she was let go after raising issues with the CW series. TV writer Nadria Tucker, whose previous credits include Underground, never heard of it, and a story editor position on Sci-Fi's Krypton. Now, this is interesting, don't forget, because when we read down, you'll understand what I'm about to say here, because there was a lot of representation and inclusion on Krypton for people of colour. In fact, they were the Zods. They were that element of the show, which was a really brilliant idea. Made a statement today announcing that she's been let go from a very different Superman-based series, tweeting that she's been dropped from the writer's room of the CW's upcoming Superman and Lois. This kind of staffing change on a yet-to-be-released show wouldn't be terribly newsworthy, except that Tucker also stated that she'd been a vocal critic of some aspects of the show, which stars Tyler Hoechlin and Elizabeth Tulloch, extending their Arrowverse runs as the title characters, stating that she spent the last several months flagging Me Too jokes in dialogue, defending the Bechdel test fighting to ensure the only black faces on screen aren't villains, and pushing for more female-forward storylines, all of which, she says, was ignored, with an implication that raising these issues led to her contract being dropped. Very interesting. Now, there's a row of tweets here. Excuse me. Some personal news. Wednesday, I got word that my contract on Superman and Lois won't be extended. My service is no longer needed. My outline and draft subpar. Obviously, I disagree with that last bit. Lol. This after months of me flagging Me Too jokes in dialogue. She goes on. Of me defending the Bechdel test, of me fighting to ensure the only black faces on screen aren't villains, of me pitching stories for female characters. There's one in the title of the series that went ignored. If I sound bitter, it's because this one stings. I've been assured by colleagues that I was great in the room, so I know I'm not nuts. Well, I don't want to go that. I don't want to go that direction. I debated whether to post this, but my own mental well-being demands that I do. The only way shit changes is to expose it. Superman and Lois currently scheduled for a February 2021 debut, arriving as part of the network's efforts to get things back to some semblance of normalcy after COVID blew almost its entire full TV schedule out of the water. The series was developed by CW superhero maestro, if you say so, Greg Berlanti, working alongside The Flash's Todd Helbing. That's one of the things that makes me confident because he was running season 1 and 2 of The Flash, which is The Flash's best 2 seasons, so fingers crossed. Who'll serve as an executive producer and showrunner on the show. The series, Heckling and Tulloch, who debut their versions of Clark and Lois Lane on Supergirl, dealing with simultaneously with their problems of raising kids, working in the high stakes of superhero journalism, and fighting bad guys. So I want to go into this, but I'm going to pause this video for a moment because my throat is toast. Yeah, let's see if I can get through this with this horrible morning throat. Never smoke. Smoking's bad for you. Anyway, right. A very, very interesting article and some very, very interesting tweets posted by this writer. First of all, I do think she's bitter, but we'll go there and we'll discuss this. I think that the people on Superman and Lois, and in fact the CW, did the right thing. This woman sounds like an absolute pain up the jacksie, an absolute pain up the arse, right? Because let's get one thing absolutely straight. There's no one more alt-left, or I hate this word, woke, than the CW. They have represented so many minorities, right, and people of colour as positive role models. So for her to come in and accuse them of ignoring her Me Too stuff and other things, including making sure people of colour aren't just playing villains, well, there's Diggle, right? We've got our own, very own Martian Manhunter on the Supergirl show. So this really isn't the CW's kind of situation where they would actually represent minorities badly. So already she seems like a bit of a dodgy character. But the problem is with these people, you can never please them. Not once in those tweets did she say, I was in the writer's room and I was saying, let's have the best Superman ever. Let's have the best Lois Lane ever. Let's have the best this ever. Let's have the best Lex Luthor. Let's have the best action, the best emotional elements. No, all she was talking about was representing minorities positive. I agree. I don't want to see people of colour just playing villains. I don't want to see gay people being killed at the end of each episode, which, you know, gay characters are famous for doing, right? I want people represented in the right way, and that's right, and that's proper. But the point being here, it can't be just about 100%, you know, representation and inclusion. You actually have to and I know this is old-fashioned to many people in the industry right now, you do actually have to develop characters, make them interesting, and create a good, entertaining show. And so I think they moved her on for a good reason. Now, her colleagues saying, oh, you were so good. Well, what were they going to say to you, sweetheart? Were they going to say, look, love, you're a pain up the fucking arse and we're glad you're actually been sacked? No. Of course they're going to say you were good in the writer's room. And maybe she was. Maybe she has some great ideas. But the point being, she's talking about a network that's done probably more than most networks for representation and inclusion. of minorities. So I don't see this here, but it also says something that the CW, like many people in the entertainment industry, are starting to realise something, that a lot of this shit is driving the audience away. What do you think is going to happen when we see the next James Bond film, No Time to Die, after Lashana Lynch's statement, political weaponized statement about her being 007? What do you think is going to happen? She's telling the mainstream not to bother to watch. That's not what she wants to do, but that's what she's doing. She's putting people off. And people like this writer will put people off. This is Superman. So the main priority can't just be how you represent minorities and people and women. No, it's important. But it's 25% important. The rest is about entertainment, character development. This is Superman, for crying out loud. Don't you understand, woman? Absolutely ridiculous. I thought it was an interesting article to bring to you, and that's why I read it. Yes, Scott Edwards has tagged me in another Screen Rant article about Arrowverse. Now, this is from a journalist called John Alquarola. I'm not going to bother with that last name. Again, I can't pronounce it. Just get pronounceable surnames, for Christ's sake. Anyway, Crisis on Infinite Earths was Supergirl's last Arrowverse crossover. Now, Scott actually wants me to tear this to pieces, but considering she's about to do the last season of her show, could they have a point? Now, there's no reason why she still can't show up in the crossovers, but let's give this article a read. Supergirl's final season, combined with COVID-19 TV production issues, means that Crisis on Infinite Earths was likely her last Arrowverse crossover. Supergirl ending with Season 6 likely means that Crisis on Infinite Earths was the last Arrowverse crossover for the Guild of Steel. The final season of Supergirl will premiere in mid-season 2021 on the CW instead of premiering earlier in 2021 like The Flash. The stars and producers of Supergirl have hit social media to confirm that Season 6 will indeed be the end, and Benoist encouragingly promises one hell of a final season. Yeah, I don't think her and Mon-El walking away in the starlight is much of a hell of a season, but we'll see. But sadly, Supergirl Season 6 may not include one final team-up with the Kryptonian heroine and her super friends in Arrowverse. Of course, this is just this person's opinion. The Flash and Arrow pioneered the Arrowverse crossovers, but Supergirl made them extra special. Oh, shut up! In the years before Crisis, Supergirl lived in a different dimension of the DC TV multiverse, Earth 38. And in Supergirl's first season, the show was even on another network, yes, before it was actually absolutely cancelled by CBS for terrible ratings. Barry Allen, Grant Gustin crossing over to Supergirl in Season 1 was a jolt of electricity that caused fervent fan demand for Kara Danvers and her world to officially become part of the Arrowverse. That happened when Supergirl moved to the CW in Season 2. Kara and Barry also had a delightful musical crossover together titled Duet. Honestly, right? Crap. I hate musical crossovers. I hate it when they do musicals when a show's not a musical. Honestly, different rant for a different video. Showcasing their song and dance shots. Excitingly, Supergirl's link to the CW opened the door for the Guild of Steel to take a central role as part of the Arrowverse's trinity with the Flash and Green Arrow, Stephen Amell. In fact, Supergirl became increasingly important to the annual Arrowverse crossovers, did she? You must be watching the other one of the other multi-Earths crossover, mate. The immensely powerful Kara Zor-El was a sensation among her fellow superheroes when she crossed over to the Flash, Arrow and Legends of Tomorrow's Earth 1 to battle the alien dominators in 2016's invasion event about stealing Supergirl's heart when Nazi doppelgangers of the heroes attacked Earth 1 and showed fans the thrilling battle between Supergirl and her double. Oh yeah, I remember that. Overgirl, that's it, her name was Overgirl. Kara was also crucial to 2018's Elseworlds, since her friendship is what brought Batwoman Ruby Rose into the Arrowverse. 2019-2020's Crisis on Infinite Earths cemented Supergirl as one of the most important heroes in the multiverse. Kara was proclaimed as a paragon. This is the word I was looking for yesterday. I was asking, is the new woman going to be a paragon. Now that's interesting, isn't it? Of hope, and she became founding a member of the Justice League after Earth 38 merged with Earth 1 to become Earth Prime. But after Crisis ended, Supergirl returned to her home of National City, and she had no further on-screen interactions with her fellow heroes. After the Herculean task of producing Crisis on Infinite Earths, the Arrowverse understandably decided to scale back on crossovers, and this was well before the COVID-19 pandemic drastically altered how films and TV series will be produced going forward. Right, I will tear this down, Scott Edwards, first of all, because I haven't finished the article yet. They were never going to scale down on the crossovers before COVID-19. It's only because of COVID-19 they've had to scale down this one time on the crossovers. The crossovers get the ratings and make the money. What are you talking about? Crisis on Infinite Earths is the very, very foundation of Walter Hamada's and Jim Lee's multiverse strategy for the whole of the DC Extended Universe. What are you talking about? With the necessary safety protocols in place. Simply producing a TV series is now best with difficult new challenges, making a massive crossover event involving multiple superheroes appearing together, with the necessary amount of crew working behind the camera supporting them, invisible, I can't read that bloody word, and unlikely to occur in the near future. We know. Stop wasting our time. Presently, the only upcoming team-up known to be in the cards will see the new Batwoman Javicia Leslie team up with Superman Tyler Hoechlin, which may or may not include Supergirl in some capacity. Meanwhile, Supergirl has its 20-episode final season to mount, and there will naturally be extra precautions expected to be taken for Melissa Benoist, who will be a new mother during Supergirl Season 6. Right, listen to me. Her being a mother is irrelevant, right? She'll be a new mother by then. I don't know if she's still pregnant or what. I don't know. But I do know this. First of all, Batwoman and Superman linking up for a little crossover is awesome. They're both they're kind of new to the Arrowverse, if you like. So it's great to establish them having some kind of relationship and bond. So I'm really happy with that. But there's no reason why Supergirl and some other heroes can't cross over as well. Why? Because all you have to do is be in a 2-week bubble with the cast and crew. It's not that difficult. So this person's talking absolute shit, honestly. But they could have another agenda here. Maybe because they've cancelled Supergirl, they want to kind of withdraw her from the team. But we will see what happens. All of this means that barring a surprise or a radical change in the world in the upcoming 2021-22 TV season, Crisis on Infinite Earths will probably stand as Supergirl's last hurrah in terms of Arrowverse's mega crossover team-up. It's true that Crisis was so gargantuan that it's hard to imagine an event that could go bigger because you've got no imagination. That's the problem with people like you. But if Supergirl does join in a team-up at some point in Season 6, it will probably be much more intimate, like her duet with Barry was. This is sad for the fans. He's talking like this is a fact. This is just what you think, mate. Oh dear, especially considering that at this point, the Justice League that assembled at the end of Crisis haven't even had one adventure together as a team. How do you know off camera if they haven't had an adventure yet? No imagination. And it's also hard to imagine what the Arrowverse will look like without Supergirl as a shining beacon at its centre. Oh my God, mate, she ain't going to shag you, you know. Jesus Christ. Anyway, right, we don't know yet. We all know there's not going to be some big crossover, but we have been promised a smaller crossover this year. Now, if Supergirl isn't in this smaller crossover, I believe she will definitely cross over with Superman, but probably she may even do the crossover with Javicia Leslie's Batwoman and Tyler Hoechlin's Superman. That's something I'm guessing on. That's something I think could and probably will happen. It's something not to worry about now. And this journalist is just saying things for some reason that he wants to happen. Not necessarily what's going to happen. But that's movie journalism for you, isn't it now? And finally today, I just want to talk about what will happen after Flashpoint, potentially, or what I think will happen. So what are the facts? We were told at DC Fandom by Andy Machete and his sister that they are going, Barry Allen will not only, break the timeline with Flashpoint, but he's going to reboot the multiverse. Basically, what this means is that everything's rebooted. Now, everything in the past that's already happened in the DCEU will be remembered. Obviously, maybe they'll scrub out certain things. If I were them, I'd scrub out Birds of Prey. Just a suggestion anyway. I'll end Justice League. No more. But basically, yeah, let's get serious here, because basically they're going to reboot the universe, but nothing will be forgotten. Man of Steel, BVS, Suicide Squad, all that stuff won't be forgotten, but it will be rebooted. So all these characters will be in different positions, maybe different places. So it's very, very interesting. And I think it's quite difficult right now because obviously Zack Snyder's Justice League is part of the multiverse. There's no escaping that. And I know Zack's called it an Elseworld story and talked about the multiverse. But obviously Barry's going to reset, right, the world, or what the multiverse, or is it just Earth 1, or is it basically Snyder's world they're rebooting? No, it's every single Earth. It's the multiverse, right? So the multiverse is not only going to be shattered by Flashpoint, it's going to be rebooted by the end of the movie. That's a fact. That's what's going to happen. So it's going to be very interesting what different positions these characters are going to be in, and also different versions of these characters. Now, as I've said, DC Comics have done this quite a few times, right? Where they've decided when things have got a bit confusing in the narrative, just to reboot the whole thing and start again. I mean, it's a good idea, really, isn't it? Oh, dear, I can't remember what that character did about 6 years ago. Fuck it. Let's reboot the whole thing. Now, this plan has been there since Walter Hamada came on. This was the idea. This is why they started calling it the Worlds of DC. So it's obviously been in the thinking for a long time, ever since Justice League failed, right? And so it's just going to be very interesting where the different players sit. There's a rumour, of course, that Michael Keaton's Batman will play a larger role after Flashpoint in the DC Extended Universe. Exciting. And if Nicolas Cage's Superman is in Flashpoint as well, could he play a bigger role in the DC Extended Universe as well? And then what of Henry Cavill's Superman? Which the situation's a bit weird to me right now, because it's been what? Quite a few months now ever since he turned up at the Man of Steel watch party. We thought that signalled that he signed a contract, but still we're not hearing anything. So even though I've predicted that he will be at the HBO Max side of things and maybe cameoing in a couple of central DC Extended Universe movies, it's very interesting. He's been very, very quiet about it. So yeah, I'm very excited to see how all this is going to play out after Flashpoint, and how when they reset and reboot the entire universe, how it's actually going to work. Now, I've seen Wonder Woman 84. We won't go into that because I don't want to spoil it for you, but that may give a little clue to what's going to happen in the future. And also, you'll find out by watching that film in 20 years' time why they delayed it from 2019 to 2020. And very soon, they're going to confirm that they're moving the film again to 2021, June 2021, I think. Yeah, it's all very frustrating. And when that's official, I will react angrily to that again. Now, what do you think? How do you think when they reboot the DC Extended Universe during Flashpoint, how will this change the characters that we've seen in movies thus far? What positions, what different places will they be at? And also, what will it mean for Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn? I think a big change with that character is coming. Comment down below, like, share and subscribe, and I'll be back tomorrow with even more DCEU Daily. See you again soon.